Altantuya Shaariibuu, a 28-year-old Mongolian translator whose body was blown to bits in the Malaysian jungle.
Everyone knows that the game of politics has always been dirty and risky. It's a world where secrets are currency and silence can be bought. But what happens when someone steps into this dangerous arena, not just to play the game, but to change the rules? One woman dared to get romantically involved in this treacherous world, and she didn't just dip her toes into the murky waters of politics, she dived head first. Her involvement, however, was not just romantic. She discovered a secret so exploitative that she believed it was worth a fortune. She tried to blackmail a powerful player in the game, Abdul Razak Baginda. The game of politics is not for the faint-hearted. It's a game where the stakes are high and the consequences can be deadly. This is the story of Altantuya, a woman who dared to challenge the status quo, and Abdul Razak Baginda, the politician who escaped blackmail by all means possible. Let me show you how that ended for her. The year was 2002. Abdul Razak Baginda, a politically connected defense analyst and advisor to Najib Razak, then Malaysian defense minister, brokered a deal that would forever change the course of his life. The deal involved the purchase of 2 French Scorpion-class submarines and 1 Augustus submarine from French Naval Dockyards Unit DCN, now part of Thales for Malaysia's defense ministry. The deal was worth a staggering $1.2 billion. But what was the real cost of this deal, and who paid the ultimate price? Altantuya Shaariibuu, born on May 6 of 1978, was a Mongolian national who led a life that was as interesting as it was tragic. She began her career as a model, but her linguistic skills soon led her to work as a translator. She was reportedly fluent in Mongolian, Chinese, Russian, and English. From 1993 to 2003, Altantuya married a Mongolian techno singer named Madai. They had a child, but the marriage ended in divorce. Their child was sent to live with Altantuya's parents. A few years later, Altantuya remarried and had another child with another man, but this second marriage also ended in divorce. This is when she took her translator career very seriously, and often traveled out of Mongolia to countries like China, Singapore, and Spain. She visited Malaysia at least twice, once in 1995 and in early 2006. Altantuya's life took a dramatic turn when she entered a romantic relationship with Abdul Razak Baginda. It was alleged that Altantuya was introduced to Abdul Razak by former Malaysian Prime Minister Najib Razak at the International Diamond Convention in Hong Kong. Abdul Razak was a defense analyst from the Malaysian Strategic Research Center. Shortly after they met, love blossomed, and Baginda and Altantuya began seeing each other romantically, while she accompanied him to Paris and worked as a translator during his negotiations to purchase the Scorpion-class submarines from France for the Malaysian government. This relationship would eventually draw her into the whirlpool of Malaysian politics. Her involvements in this controversial submarine deal set the stage for a series of events that would shock the nation. But how did a model turned translator find herself amid a billion-dollar defense deal? On the fateful day of October 19, 2006, Altantuya vanished under perplexing circumstances. It was the same day that she had taken the courageous step of reporting harassment and death threats by Abdul Razak Baginda and his hired private investigator to the police. She was last seen outside Abdul Razak's house, where she had received a phone call to meet him. Her cousin lodged a police report and sought help from the Mongolian embassy in Bangkok to help locate Altantuya. However, 3 weeks later, the Malaysian police found Altantuya's remains in a deserted area in Shah Alam, Malaysia. The police concluded that she had been shot twice before C4 explosives were later used on her remains, although there have been later suggestions that the C4 explosives may have killed her. The explosives shattered Altantuya's body so much that her remains could only be confirmed with a DNA test.
Okay, many years people in my country waiting about who's give the order, but until now I gonna tell what he told me. This is special operation for Deputy Prime Minister Mr. Najib.
But who would want Altantuya dead, and why? The French company Ameris was negotiating a high-stakes deal with Abdul Razak for the sale of 3 submarines. The deal was worth 1 billion euros, or 4.7 billion RM. However, a hefty commission of 114 million euros was discreetly transferred to the accounts of Perry Macar, a company under the control of Abdul Razak Baginda. Unknown to them, Altantuya had discovered their secret. She had stumbled upon information about the secret deal and the substantial commission. Armed with this knowledge, she thought that her time had come to cash in on the secret. She wrote a letter demanding a silence fee of $500,000 from Mr. Baginda. This later would later be found after her untimely death. Altantuya's death sparked an investigation by the Paris courts. However, their focus was not on her murder, but the alleged corruption surrounding the submarine deal. The inquiry would inevitably delve into the circumstances leading to her death. During the investigation of the murder, several police officers were taken into custody. The prime suspects in the murder case were identified as Chief Inspector Azila Hadri, age 30, and Corporal Cyril Azura Umar, age 35. Both of them were a part of the esteemed Special Actions Unit and were assigned to serve as bodyguards in the office of the Prime Minister, Abdallah Ahmad Badawi. Abdullah Razak, meanwhile, faced charges of aiding and abetting the murder. Najib Razak vehemently denied ever knowing or meeting Altantuya, so much so that he swore an oath at his mosque to prove this, asking God to kill him if he was lying.
Sejak saya memasuki usia taklif hingga ke saat ini, saya tidak pernah mengharapkan mana-mana individu untuk membunuh seorang wanita warga negara Mongolia yang bernama Altantuya Shaariibuu. Malah saya tidak pernah berjumpa dan tidak mengenali beliau sama sekali. Jika saya berdusta, maka laknat Allah Subhanahu wa taala atas diri saya.
A separate French police investigation revealed a perplexing detail. There were no immigration records of an Altantuya Shaariibuu entering France from 1999 to 2006. Instead, they found records of a Shaariibuu Bayas Galan, who bore a striking resemblance to Altantuya. The plot thickened when they discovered that Najib's entourage might have entered France through diplomatic channels, leaving no immigration record. The trial of Altantuya Shaariibuu's murder was a high-profile murder case that gripped the entire nation of Malaysia. During the trial, Baginda admitted that he had traveled with her to France in 2005. Records seized from DCN's former financial chief described Altantuya as Baginda's translator. However, Rosanna Whaley, the director of Perry Macar, contradicted this claim. She stated that the negotiations were conducted in English, and she had no knowledge of anyone by the name of Altantuya in the negotiation team. The Shah Alam High Court originally acquitted Abdul Razak Baginda, Altantuya's former lover, and meted out the death sentence to two of the accused, Chief Inspector Azila Hadri and Corporal Cyril Azhar Umar, on the 9th of April of 2009. However, in a twist of events, on the 23rd of August of 2013, Cyril and Azila were acquitted by the Court of Appeal, sparking controversy. Several reasons were given for the acquittal, such as the failure of prosecution to provide a strong motive for the two men to murder the victim, and a failure to call for the cross-examination of Najib's aide, Musa Safri and Najib Razak. Then, on the 13th of January 2015, the federal court overturned the acquittal of both individuals, finding them both guilty of murder, and sentenced the both of them to death.
I'm circumstantial victim. I'm scapegoat like this. That's why I'm telling the truth. I'm using me, scapegoat.
However, Cyril managed to flee to Australia, where he remains in detention. Efforts by the Malaysian authorities to extradite him were hampered by existing Australian legislation prohibiting the extradition of individuals to countries with the death penalty. But what does this say about the justice system? Can justice truly be served?
People in my country waiting about who's give the order. But until now, I gonna tell, Zila told me this is special operation for Deputy Prime Minister Mr. Najib.
Despite this controversy, Baginda continued his work while in custody, and even published a book on foreign affairs that he started during his incarceration. In a later development, the High Court ordered the government, Abdul Razak Baginda, to pay 5 million RM in damages to the family of Altantuya Shaariibuu. After his acquittal in the murder trial of Altantuya, Abdul Razak headed to the United Kingdom to receive a degree at Oxford University.